biggest mistakes that people make when they move to New Zealand from another country is thinking that when they get here, everything's going to be hunky-dory. They're going to have left the stressful life that they had back home, they're going to arrive in New Zealand, and life is going to be wonderful. But that's not really the case.
Are we seeing the whole thing? Has it been a bed of roses for you guys? Because, no? I know,
I'll let you take the lead on this.
Yeah.
No.
Today we welcome back Miley and Brian. Miley and Brian moved from the US 6 months ago and are now living in Dunedin. And in this episode, they're going to share with us the highs, the lows, the reality of what life has been like for them living in New Zealand.
Got it.
Welcome to the NZ Ahead podcast. Everything you need to know about moving to and living in New Zealand.
There's a whole world here.
So nice to be with you again.
You'll be right.
Kia ora.
We call it Aotearoa around here, bro.
We are your hosts, Liz and Brian.
Amazing New Zealand in the southern seas.
See, that's where I belong. That's home.
Hello and welcome to the NZ Ahead podcast. Today is going to be slightly different. Me and Brian are taking you to Dunedin and having you sit in on a private conversation that we had with our friends Miley and Brian. We met Miley and Brian when they joined our NZ Ahead private community group. They moved from the US to Dunedin and we went down to see them and spent a week with them. And today they're going to talk to you about all the highs and lows of what they've experienced. They're a brilliant couple, so gorgeous, and they're very, very open and transparent. You are going to love this show. Just to give you a bit of a backstory in case you don't know Miley and Brian, by the way, I will link to their YouTube channel, Zoomies Abroad, in the description below. But Miley is a nurse and Brian is an IT specialist. But everything hasn't been a bed of roses for them. And that's what we're going to find out. If you stay around to the end of the show, I'll give you details of the private community that we talk about within the show, the community that Miley and Brian are in. Until then, sit back and enjoy this lovely, lovely chat with our friends Miley and Brian.
Okay, you're all the same.
Can I just tell you something that happened here, actually? We have come on holiday to see Brian and Miley.
Yeah, we're in Dunedin.
We're in Dunedin. No, because I'm going to say all this on the intro.
Oh, okay.
We've come on holiday to see Miley and Brian, and we purposely didn't ask them to do a podcast with us. We were like, I was on the plane to Brian, I was like, should we ask them to do a podcast? And Brian's like, no, it seems a bit rude, like just turning up and going, hi, do you want to do a podcast? And then I was speaking to Miley and she said, it'd be really great if you guys did a podcast with us. So this is a sort of very rough, make it up as we go along podcast, because we weren't expecting to do that. But we've become such good friends with you that it just seems unfair to not share this chat. Yeah. So although you might be looking at this and thinking, what the hell, there's no structure, what's going on? Chaos. You're just literally sitting in on a chat here. Yeah, you are.
Welcome to
Feel
Dunedin.
very privileged. So, but I do want to know, you've got this house, you rented this house, it's a lovely house, it's got 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, they take a dog, it's got a garden, and it's in what area of Dunedin? St Kilda? How much are you paying a week?
$5.10. $5.20.
Does that include all the bills or?
No, we pay for electricity, internet.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
so $5.10. Is that more than you thought you were going to be paying or less?
what we were thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good price range. I mean, we feel like we're getting a lot for what we're paying.
Yeah, so do I. $5.10.
That's good because I know you've got your bills on top of that, but that's.
And it's a nice warm house as well.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to say it's 2 blocks from the beach, and if we were in the US to find a house like this 2 blocks from the beach would be so much more expensive.
Way more, twice as much.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't be able to afford it.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can move to New Zealand, to Dunedin, which is beautiful, and walk to the beach and the ocean.
Yeah. And it came with all the appliances.
Yeah, and you've got a spare room for us to stay in. It's just been absolutely perfect. So do you mind me talking about money? Because I just really want to talk about money. Okay, let's get into the money then. Okay, so you're paying about around $500 a week for your accommodation. You're working as a nurse in... I'm just going to concentrate on Miley for a minute because of her... You two just, hello, Miley. Welcome to the It's a Drama podcast.
They just invited us.
They don't really need to see
it. So, Miley, you're working at the hospital as a nurse. Remind me again what you're doing as a nurse in the hospital.
I am a mental health nurse for older people.
Okay.
So a lot of dementia, chronic schizophrenia, that kind of...
Right.
And that's classed as a critical worker for New Zealand as well.
Yeah, there's a huge need for mental health nurses in New Zealand.
Right.
So I sort of had my pick of jobs, really, for mental health.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I love you, Mally. You're just so calm, isn't she, Brian?
Yes, and it's hard when you've never met someone before. You've only met them on the internet as such, and then you meet someone in the real, and then you spend more time, and then all of a sudden you start to see the real person, then, don't you?
And we're going to talk about your relationship in a minute. I've got a couple of questions about your relationship.
Different about
but
I don't say anything about find out what it's really like.
I love the balance between you two. I love the balance between you two because Miley's so calm and serene, and you're just this little crazy bourbon drinking Italian.
Very loud.
No, I just love it. Yeah, so you're working, and what I was going to say is I can't think of anyone nicer to go, and I've got a lot of respect for nurses, and I can't think of anyone nicer if I was going into hospital to have Miley looking after me. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Especially like you say, a mental, because you just listen, you can see that, and you process it so well, and then you come out with something.
Yeah.
That's a gift as such.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, guys.
So
it's very sweet.
Oh, so do you mind me asking how much what is your wage for that job?
Yes. So the nursing union just renegotiated, so my wage will go up, but right now I'm making about $78,000 per year.
Right.
And it comes out to be about $36 an hour.
Right.
And when I lived in Vermont, I was making $36 an hour US money and paying about $500 a week US dollars. So what people do when they move over here, nurses especially, is they go, oh, I'm making $70,000 in the US. And when I moved to New Zealand, in US dollars, that's only like $54,000, or, they do the conversion. But you got to stop doing the conversion. The only time the conversion matters is if you're paying off student loans or other loans in US dollars. Otherwise, you got to look at what you're making versus how much your cost of living is. And I think here, I actually take home more on my paycheck because there's less coming out in taxes.
Right.
And insurance.
And another really cool thing about New Zealand, if you're a nurse, is that the pay shift differentials are more. So I make more money if I work the evening shift or an overnight shift. If I work Saturday, if I work Sunday, I make even more. If I work a holiday, time and a half, to double pay.
Yeah.
So it's quite easy for me to work a little bit extra and bring home quite a nice paycheck.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing that with us. Thank you, because
that's the big thing is everyone, we have our online community, and everyone relates it back to that. It's $10, and it's like, it's not, is it? Like, it's relevant to the country that you're living in, but like you say, it's so good that if you are paying a debt back in the USA or the UK, wherever you're from, then it might affect you that way.
Yeah, and with the new negotiation with DHB, I'm going to get a $7,000 pay raise, probably in the next couple of months.
So I'll take you up to 86 or something like that. That's 85.
Yeah, 85, something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting here with the pay because everyone, like nurses, get paid the same based on what level you are, right? As opposed to the US, where it's like different, no matter like different places you go, it's different.
So just to fill people in case you haven't watched our previous episode with Miley and Brian, which was Leaving America for Good, which was about 3 months ago, wasn't it? So I'll just put the link in the top there, and you can go and watch it after this. But we met Miley and Brian through our online New Zealand calling community. They signed up for our free 5-day guide, and then they went on to purchase the community, the community package, and we became really good friends. And we were always like, oh yeah, let's meet up in Dunedin someday, and you kind of think, oh yeah, I hope that's going to work, and I hope that's going to be true. And then, so we've come down here, and it's just like, you just feel like we've known you forever, such old friends. Yeah. But the reason I'm asking Miley about the money side is because we get a lot of people on the Slack group, don't we, worried about money, because New Zealand is New Zealand is known for being expensive. The rent is expensive and the wages are lower, and that's all you seem to hear. And so it's really interesting to hear that you've come over here. You're managing to save more here than you were in the US, That's great, isn't it?
It is. It just shows you, doesn't it, But like you say, because you talk about insurance, that's huge in the US for health insurance and dental insurance and things like that, isn't it? Which in theory, because of the welfare society here, you don't need those same insurances. So you're going to be so much better off in certain things.
Brian.
Yes.
No, what's
which Brian?
Brian. There's only one Brian. This is Bri.
Yeah, Brian. That's right.
Yeah. So you have come over. Tell us what job you're doing.
I'm still working for the same software company I was working for in California, and in the process of them switching me over to a global payroll system.
Right.
So I can keep working for them at least until March, and then I'll be looking for something else.
But you're not working normal hours, are you, Brian?
No. I mean, normal hours for the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up at usually 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's tough, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah.
It's not too bad. You get used to it.
It's tough, isn't it, Brian? It's tough.
Yeah.
It's hard work, isn't it? It's so hard.
So hard, right? Yeah.
So you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start work in your office in there. And what time do you finish?
Usually around 12 o'clock or 1.
Right. And how's that working out for you, Brian?
Pretty good. Good.
Right. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I do like it. I mean, you kind of have 2 days in one because you're done mid-afternoon, and then you can have the rest of the day to do other stuff, run errands.
Right. You two don't have kids, do you? You've got your dog, but you don't have kids. Just to be sure, just to be clear that you know. Yeah.
You should be able to see Zoe down here.
Yeah.
No,
She's hot.
With you, if you're over here, like with you, Miley, it's easy because you've got all your. You've told me that you've made loads of friends at work. How does that work for you, Brian? If you're working online, and I mean, who's going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, let's go and hang out with Brian with a hat on, you know? Let's get over to Dunedin and hang out. Well, how are you making friends?
It's hard.
Is it?
Yeah, it's been hard for a while. When we were in Vermont, especially, and went into lockdown, like normally we'll go to a city, just meet people by just going around doing things. And when we were in lockdown in Vermont, I didn't have anyone. And got really lonely and put a strand on her because she was the only person I could really hang out with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was a real struggle.
Yeah, because I would come home after a stressful day dealing as a nurse, and then also COVID and all the political upheaval in the U.S. And
Brian, let's play.
Yeah,
let's
Brian
party.
would want to talk and spend time with me, and I'd be like, God, I just need like a half hour
Just to breathe.
alone, and I would feel bad, so I wouldn't take that half hour, and then I would resent him for needing time and energy from me when I just spent 12 hours giving time and energy to patients. And so I had to learn better boundaries and a lot of communication.
Yeah. But to your question here,
A little off topic there.
No, not at all. No.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I get out, I go to coffee shops. Just being social in that way helps a lot. And pretty easy for me to friend people just in, I mean, I became friends with our local supermarket owner, people at the local coffee shop, and it just takes time. I mean, you slowly get to meet people and get to know them.
I think you're used to it now. Being called Brian, you don't get friends, do you really?
Never. It's so hard to make friends. Nobody wants to talk to me.
It's the curse of the Brians.
Yeah, you only know Brians. That's all it is, isn't it? Yeah. Anyone who's called Brian, make friends with Brian.
But tell me, I have so many things I want to ask you. I want to ask you something about work in a minute, Miley. But just tell me, Brian. So, how I've got to admire, I admire the Americans so much. I love the way that you go, hi, I'm Brian. Like, I want to be friends. How do you? Please teach us, antisocial Brits. If you walked into a coffee shop lonely, Miley's at work, you've got no friends, you've been up since 4 a.m. working, you think, oh, do you know what? I'd just like to make a little friend in this coffee shop. You walk in, what do you do? What would you say?
Ooh, I mean, it depends. Usually you go after the people who work there because they have to talk to you.
Yep.
Then sometimes, you just, if you end up having to sit at the same table, like there's a large table like this one, you'll have to sit at that table. Something comes up, you see they're reading a book or something, just initiate conversation. Usually just by that initial question or connection, you can either tell if they want to talk or they don't want to talk. You just take it from there. But we talk about this a lot as an older person. I guess I'm older.
Well, we're middle-aged.
How old? You're not middle-aged, you're young. How old are you?
43.
Don't you dare say that's middle-aged.
That's not middle-aged? I thought
Middle-aged
it was
is 70.
I will be amazed if I live.
70 is middle-aged.
So that means you'd lived 140, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, fair.
We're taking
fair.
that tablet
Yeah.
they're bringing out.
So we're youngins.
Yeah, we're youngest.
You are young.
Anyways, it's hard as a I don't know, what should I say? I'm not going to say
adults.
Yeah.
Adults not in college.
I'm not really an adult, though.
Yeah, go on. You can. I really don't think you're middle-aged, but you're not like a spring chicken, I suppose.
As a person over 40, it's harder to make friends, especially if you're not going out to clubs and going to bars and all that stuff. And we talk about this a lot. It's just hard. And I think just when you were a kid, the only thing that was different when you were a kid, you would just walk up to somebody and say, "Hey."
You did, didn't you?
Will you be my friend?
You did.
I literally said, "I'm like, hey, Miley and I are looking to make some more friends. You guys want to hang out and grab a drink sometime?"
Yeah.
Really? You just do that?
Yeah.
What do they say?
No thanks.
Go away.
You Trump supporters, go away.
We are not Trump supporters.
Very clear, very clear here.
Troublemaker.
You know everything I say is you have to just look at the other
troublemaker.
side. Yeah.
Anyways, but I think you just put it out there, and I always say, look, especially if I say to somebody who works somewhere, I go, look, you're going to see me all the time. Don't feel like you have to say yes. I'm not gonna think less of you. Just put it out there.
We put it in their court. Like, if you ever want to go grab a drink, because a lot of people in Dunedin are also new to Dunedin.
Right.
Oh.
So a lot of our friends we've met like through Instagram or Facebook, or even my recruiter was like, hey, I know somebody moving to Dunedin. She doesn't know anybody. Can I get you in touch? And now she's one of our friends.
Really? Yeah.
That's great.
You seem like a really sociable couple. You really do. And thanks for sharing that, because we aren't, we're the opposite of that. And it was interesting to see how other people...
Yeah, we were more sociable, but we're just getting more reclusive, aren't we? And,
I think, we are. We're just getting more and more. Anymore.
Yeah. Brian took us to a bar and I said, what's this?
Miley, going back to your job, so you're working with dementia patients and mental health. Mm-hmm. Does that, how does that... You're so positive and you love Dunedin, you love New Zealand, both of you. How do you not bring that home with you every night? How does that not affect you?
Honestly, it depends on the shift and the patient and the week.
Right.
There are some weeks where if I'm feeling physically good and we're not short-staffed and our patient acuity isn't too bad, where I don't bring it home at all.
Right.
But there are other weeks where, it wears me out. I come home and I'm like, I just need to decompress and take a moment. Mm. But as a nurse, you learn how to leave stuff at work.
Right.
And then when you go back to work, you pick it back up. So it's like leaving the baggage, at the door. You try to do that. You can't always do that.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a really stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. But have you noticed anything? Did you work with dementia patients and mental health in America? So this is really stupid, but is there a difference between New Zealand patients and American patients, did you think?
I would say in general, patients here are a lot less entitled.
Entitled?
Yeah, a lot less entitled.
Right.
So they're more respectful of the doctors and the nurses. They listen. They don't just argue and go, well, actually, I read on...
Yeah.
Wikidoc or whatever. The families are a lot more respectful and not nearly as demanding. So I would just say it's probably the Kiwi culture that there's just more respect and you listen to your healthcare providers more.
Right.
And patients will try to do things themselves here. Like, oh no, I'll get that. Whereas in the U.S. they'd be ringing the bell every 10 minutes. Can you get me water? Can you do this?
I think that was great what you said to me the other day. They know what medication they're on as well. I think that's slightly, because you get given a bunch of medication, you want to know what it is, don't you? But like you say, in the States, you're finding that they haven't got a clue what they're on.
Yeah. I've just got to say that out of all the people in our community, in our private community, you two just seem like you've just embraced... We've had a bunch of people move over, and maybe it's because we just know you better than the rest, but you just seem to have fully immersed yourself, don't they, Brian?
Into the Kiwi way. Even the dog coughs and stops the same way.
A true Kiwi dog, that is. Mind you, she is a Kiwi. She is a Kiwi. You have
Kiwi
got a Kiwi child.
She's a South Island girl.
Yeah. You're the parents of a Kiwi child. So, you just seem to have embraced it. But there's always another story, and I just wonder, are we seeing the whole thing? Has it been a bed of roses for you guys? Because, no. I know,
I'll let you take the lead on this.
Yeah.
No.
It hasn't, Brian. No, I can't. I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking, God, I know we really struggled when we first came over. So why? What's gone on?
I don't know. What do you think? What things specifically? I mean, there's like just getting What?
No, go ahead. Just talk.
I think just getting situated, number one, is just always hard. Figuring out where to go to get things. We've talked about that in our videos.
But we haven't talked about it with Liz.
Right. So watch our videos.
Go and watch Zoomies Abroad. We'll put the links in the description.
With different stores, where to buy things, trying to figure out, how much money we actually want to spend. Because the stuff we buy now, we want to have for a long time. Whereas when we're in the States, whenever we bought stuff, we're not sure, A, if we're staying in the States, and B, we moved around so much that we didn't want to have anything expensive. And then, you have your savings when you come over and you just see it start dwindling and dwindling.
Yeah, it's pretty much all gone.
Yeah, and it kind of bottomed out, and we knew it probably would.
Yeah.
And now we're trying to take it back up. So there's that period though where you're like,
we can't really. We still need stuff for the house, but we can't really afford to buy stuff for the house.
Do you wish you'd brought more over with you? Because you literally only came over with suitcases, really, didn't you?
6 suitcases.
And a couple of boxes that you shipped.
Yeah,
or whatever it was.
Else we've bought. But no, because we just would have spent it.
Yeah,
I feel like...
Well, especially for us, because a lot of the stuff we had... Can I cuss on this?
Of course you can, yeah.
A lot of stuff we had in the US was shit. Because we'd had it hand-me-downs forever and just buy, used stuff. And to ship shit over here and then...
Yeah. The Kiwis would not think shit is a bad word.
Oh, God, no.
Really?
No, they say much worse than that.
Yeah. Watch our other videos.
You have a specific video about cuss words?
Yes. Well, no,
there isn't. We're always just saying.
Good video,
Yeah.
So no, I'm glad.
Don't you do it.
Well, especially with shipping being about, 10, 15, probably?
1,000.
Yeah. It'd be the same if we were to...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we bought... That's probably what we spent, yeah.
So the financial side was starting to making you a little bit worried, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially me.
Right. Are you a bit of a worrier, Bri?
No.
No? He is a bit of a worrier? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially with financial stuff, because I've been through a lot of bad financial situations in my life, and I never want to go back to that. So the moment I start feeling it going that way, I have a little bit of...
Yeah. That's
I know
natural, isn't it?
Yeah. What it is, isn't it? Yeah. We don't have an endless supply of money, do we? And like you say, you work hard to get it, and it's so easy to spend it, and it's just like...
And especially with my job, there's kind of an end date for my job, so my income is not guaranteed beyond March. Hopefully I'll have another job, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we've told you can come up to Taranaki and help Brian build
a tiny house.
Build a little writing room.
We'll give you some more bread and water. That's not a problem.
There we go.
Get a little outhouse that I can stay in.
Yes, you don't eat meat, so that's not a problem either.
Let me eat the grass.
Oh, a little fly go away. Do you get a lot of flies in Dunedin?
Oh, they're all over the place.
It's not that bad.
No, mind you, it's not the summer yet.
They tend to fly out.
Yeah, they come in, hang out for a little bit.
Yeah,
do
they're
a little
like,
dance.
they're like, "What's up, guys?" And then
see, look, they even like the flies in. They've been positive about the flies in Dunedin. Right, what else can I ask
all
you?
the time.
no, wait, but we're not done yet.
No, I know exactly. Question. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So yes, you were worried about the finance.
Yeah.
What else, Brian?
Tell us the nitty-gritty.
Come on. Did you ever just sit there and think, oh, no.
Not being able to understand the locals.
That is actually, at first getting used to accents, and a lot of times Kiwis that we've talked to, sometimes they talk really quiet.
And fast.
And
we're like,
what?
I think you talk really quiet too. I think you both talk quiet.
I talk quiet, Brian.
I talk quiet?
Yeah, I think so.
I've been sick the last couple of days, so that...
Yeah.
I don't know, you've just got a soft... It's not a harsh... Do you know what Brian said to me the other day? This is really mean. He was doing my sound on the podcast, and he went...
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No, but he's like, oh, and I said, what's the matter, darling? Here's your tea. What's the matter, sweetheart?
He didn't say like that.
Yes, I did. And he went, oh, your voice is so sharp, and I can't do anything with it. That's what you said. That's what you said.
Because you said,
I know.
Tyrese sounds great, and he's got a nice deep voice, but yours is a little harsh. Why does mine sound so bad? That were our exact words. Why does mine sound so bad?
And you said it's because your voice is harsh. Imagine that, your husband telling you your voice is harsh. So anyway, no.
It's in my ears.
So what else? There's got to be something that... I know that, Miley, you went through a bit of a hard time, didn't you? And you said... Do you want to just talk about that? I don't want to be all negative, but I want people to know
the realness
of it. Yeah.
I want people to know that, we really want to be here, and we love it here.
Yeah.
I think more than I thought I would. Oh, sorry, just covered the microphone. But it's not, even though we really want to be here, it's been hard.
Yeah.
Because you give up everything you know. Everything's different. Friends are different, job is different, location's different. You don't have your family nearby, you don't have your best friend nearby. You're not just a half-hour car ride to see one of your buddies. You know, it's the other side of the world. So you do really feel like, God, we're here on our own. Mm-hmm. We have a community, but we don't have that long-standing connection with them. Yeah. Mm. And everything's different. And sometimes you just want something to be familiar. Mm-hmm. You just want the ease of, like, I know where I'm going to go shopping and where I'm going to eat, and I'm going to call my best friend of 20 years and we're going to get coffee. Mm-hmm. But you can't do any of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's funny. I mean, even the simple thing is like grocery shopping. Like, there's certain times when you just want those things that you've grown up with and you love having.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just getting a flour tortilla to make a burrito, and finding a good one's just so hard and just frustrating. Mm. I know it seems so petty and stupid, but
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Well, until you've done it, you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's when you do it, and it's just like you say, that brand of ketchup or that brand of whatever it is, and you just can't get those usual ones because that's what you want it to taste like. It's those things, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
What's the one thing that you have come over here and you've thought, oh wow, I wasn't expecting that, like a positive thing that is there anything that you can just think, wow? I mean, I know you love living in New Zealand, but is there any one thing that you can think, God, no one told me about that? And
it's probably a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny
the way the flies come in and then they go back out again. they never stay.
And they're fine. They're nice.
They're lovely, those
nice
flies.
Little flies. Great little flies.
I will say the lack of, at least here in Dunedin, the lack of bugs.
Oh,
yes,
really?
there are flies.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But
that part's great.
In the US, you can never just keep your windows open like this. Because there's no screens on the windows here.
Yeah.
No.
In the US, all your windows have screens.
Is that why they keep saying on the chat, what about the bugs?
Yeah.
What about the fly? Oh, right.
Mosquitoes
really?
are so bad in the US.
All over America, all over US.
Except for maybe the desert behind
Desert. Even Vermont.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah, you can't sit outside certain times of the year without getting...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you always got to be having, put bug spray on. And
Yep.
I imagine on the West Coast, when I was there, you do have sandflies you have to deal with. Yes. But even there, they don't have screens, which I thought was
No, they don't.
Yeah.
That's because they're hardcore. They just rub a bit of lemon juice on. That's it. Citronella after candle. Just wax it on, don't they, Brian?
That's it. Wax on, wax off.
You two have been together, 4 years?
Oh, Brian. Oh, sorry, Dana, what?
Can I interrupt?
Of course you can.
And just to go back to the struggle.
Yes. Yeah.
Just for healthcare workers out there or anybody coming over starting a new job here, my first 6 weeks at work were really overwhelming and exciting, but also tough because it's a whole new healthcare system and everything's different. The medications are different. The language is different. I don't know how many times I had to go, what does that mean? I don't know what that is.
As in like
the slang jumper versus sweater or Panadol versus Tylenol. I mean, just like little things that as a nurse of 8 years are so ingrained in me with patient care and talking to coworkers. And I come over here and it's like, nope, that didn't work. Okay, let me try this. And a lot of my patients were like, what are you saying? Because I was using the wrong words for things that are just called different things here.
Yeah.
And then I have an American accent.
Exactly, I was going to say that,
which can be a little bit tough for especially older Kiwis. And then just, in the U.S. as a nurse, you don't do a lot of bathing, you don't do a lot of toileting your patients because we have healthcare assistants who did that. On my ward, the nurses do a lot of that. So even figuring out your daily routine of like, when am I going to shower this patient and clean up their room and make their bed, that's stuff you would never do.
Do you have to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? I didn't think you'd have to do that.
So, it was, I would come home really tired, and I had a week that was really rough I think just because I was tired. And it was almost in tears and sort of like asked one of my coworkers, am I doing okay? Because sometimes I feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I'm used to being the nurse in charge, the one that people come to. And then to come here and be like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. And I don't know what my coworkers think of me. So it really challenges your confidence a little bit. But I have great coworkers. And Matt, if you're watching this, you're super helpful. But yeah, he was just very reassuring and like, you're doing awesome.
Really?
You've only been here 2 months. Give yourself a break. And I think we have to remember that.
I think everyone needs to remember that.
We have to give ourselves a break.
Yeah.
This is such a big move. Yeah. There's so much new stuff.
That's thank you for sharing that. It's such a good point, because we do tend to just think,
you're going to hit the floor.
We're all right. We just moved over.
You're going to hit the floor running, and you're not. It's like you literally have got to just stop all the time and just stop running and trying to think, I'm good. And then you say, you need a benchmark, and there's no benchmark because everything is different, isn't it? Like, and it's just like, shit, I don't know where you get lost.
You feel bad for struggling because you're like, this was our decision. We really want to be here. I shouldn't complain, or I shouldn't feel so tired. Because that was the main thing. I just felt so tired for like 2 months. Because it was so overwhelming.
Yeah, and you feel guilty that you've come over as a specialist, and it's like, am I doing the right thing? It's like, you think I should know.
Yeah, or are they looking at me like, why did we hire her?
Who is this girl?
It's the same as being a tradie as well. It's that same feeling, like, because it's just learning the ropes again. And once you've learnt them, it's like, okay. But it takes time.
Yeah, it does take time. And I'm feeling much better now, but
But the difference is, like saying you're a trade, it's like if you came over and worked in the restaurant industry or something, or you were a teacher, say you were a primary school teacher and you were coming over, you're going to be surrounded all day by little happy kids. I mean, it's going to be a struggle, but it's the environment that you're in is happy, isn't it? And, I don't want to say normal, but it's just it must be it's a happy environment to be a school teacher or work in a restaurant or whatever, even doing your plumbing, and going and you with your co-workers and just getting on and having your bit of morning tea. But coming and working as a mental health nurse, you're diving straight into a challenge. Like, I'm not saying your job wasn't challenging. That's not what I'm saying.
I know what you're trying to say. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just that whole. You can't exactly sit down with your patient and go, I'm having a really hard time, mate. What do you can you? You just can't. So that must have been super extra hard for you to have to go to work and then put on that smiley face and be like, I'm the one that's supposed to be uplifting you here. I'm looking after you. When really inside you're probably thinking, oh, please, someone just look after me and, tell me where to get some cheese. Do you know what I mean? Like all the little things.
Yeah.
So hats off to you. It's just, and the same with you, Brian. It was like that whole isolation, really, isn't it? Your job that you're doing, Yeah.
And I mean, in some ways, I did have to start over. I mean, I did have to start over again because when we first got here, the first month and a half, didn't really have any friends.
No.
Hadn't had time to make friends going out and about either. So. And then we went into lockdown again. Yeah, here we're like, damn it!
Yes, we just left it.
Can't do this. We had some bad PTSD. Me especially. I was like, I can't do this again.
What's PTSD?
Post-traumatic stress.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Disorder.
Disorder. Yeah.
Because it was so bad. It was so hard for her and I in the U.S. We went through some serious struggles. And,
in lockdown?
Yeah, when we went to lockdown.
Why?
Each on our own and as a couple.
Why? Just because you couldn't stand to be locked in with each other?
Back to what we were talking about earlier, where I was being really isolated, feeling really isolated, and couldn't make friends or be with anybody, and she was the only person, and it was hard on her. And it was a real strain on our marriage.
Right. I had a lot of anxiety because of COVID.
Yeah.
Nursing in the U.S. during COVID. I mean, it's still terrible there. And nurses are leaving the field in droves in the U.S. because it's just such a nightmare to be a nurse over there right now. And we didn't know how bad it would get. We didn't know how bad Vermont would get. I just kept, every day I'm like, well, I haven't had it yet. Although I think I did have it, but that's aside. That's another story. So you wake up with fear and anxiety. And then the political situation was a nightmare as well. So everywhere you turn, there's uncertainty and there's chaos and there's anxiety. And then we're locked down. You know, you don't want to go eat out, or we couldn't for a long time.
Yeah.
I couldn't leave the state as a nurse. Like, my job said you cannot leave the state because all the other states around us were much worse with COVID. So we're literally isolated to the home, and the only place I went was work, and it was stressful.
Yes, to say the least.
But she at least had she could be with other people.
Yeah, who were going through it.
Yeah, whereas I'm stuck at home and I had no one.
So we really struggled. Our marriage is much better because of it, but it was... And I'm sure anybody in the U.S. watching this who is married totally knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely a time where we thought that maybe our marriage wouldn't last.
Yeah.
If you dream of moving to New Zealand, then you are going to love what I'm about to share with you. 12 years ago, when me and Bri emigrated to New Zealand, we were scouring the internet, trying to find any information that we could about what our life would be like when we got here. And basically all we had was YouTube. So we made this vow. We said, when we get to New Zealand, we're going to create something that we can share with others that answers those questions that you're so desperate to know about. Like, what is your life going to be like when you get here? And that's what I'm here to offer you today. We have created a 5-day free, absolutely free video guide that shows you what it's really like to live in New Zealand. This stuff is unique and it is fabulous. You are not going to find it anywhere else on the internet. And like I say, it's absolutely free. You'll be sent a video every day for 5 days and you will know what it's like in New Zealand. So if you are interested, head over to my blog, which is www.itsadrama.com/ILoveNZ. You are going to love it.
And I'm sure anybody in the U.S. watching this who is married totally knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely a time where we thought that maybe our marriage wouldn't last.
Yeah.
I ended up seeing a therapist just to get some help because I was starting to go crazy.
Really?
So anyways, back to here. When we went into lockdown again, I was like, I can't do this again. I can't go through this. I can't handle that again. So.
And was the Kiwi lockdown?
It was much better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah. Once we got through the initial shock of it, we're like, okay, this is not.
It's different. We're not.
It's not the U.S.
We're not in the U.S.
Did you just start panicking and thinking it was just going to go the same way?
Yeah. Because like you said, at least you can get out and you can go to the supermarket. And
I remember you telling me that. I mean, we won't go into all that, but I do remember you telling me that you had patients in the parking lot. You know.
In the USA.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Building. Yeah, units in the hospital, in the parking lot. And
I can't imagine that, but so that's what I mean. You know, I hope that we've been able to be here for you as a community and to talk to you. But I could see that sometimes you were struggling, and you know, but you're so good at keeping going and just getting on and things like that. It was just.
I mean,
we've seen it on the channel too. I mean, I think there are people who struggle on there with this, even when they get here. And to go back to it, I think there's a level of guilt. Like, I'm so lucky to be here.
Yeah.
I should not, because there are so many people who can't get over here. Yeah.
And you get people saying, well, I'd give my left nut to swap with you. You live in New Zealand. And it's like, and you feel really guilty, don't you? You know, it is. It's just, and you don't want to go home, but you just want a little cry and a little, someone to just go, oh, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
God, that's thunder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thunder.
That's exciting.
That's why the flies are coming in. It's like, do you want to stay out there?
Yeah.
But I think the biggest moral of the story is just be patient with yourself, with everything.
You're going to have weeks where you may be like, did we do the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
This is harder than I thought it would be. Yeah. You'll get through it. It gets better. We love it here. And we really love Dunedin. Dunedin is home.
Yeah.
We don't want to go anywhere else. And now that you guys have been hanging out in Dunedin.
I just love Dunedin.
Absolutely love Dunedin.
We can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's freezing and horrible in Dunedin.
It is cold.
Very cold.
Don't
There's
come down
nothing
here.
to do. There's no restaurants, no nice walks.
Really ugly.
No, definitely don't come to Dunedin.
Yeah. It's not on the tourist destination, honest.
I've got two more things I want to ask you before I wrap it up. It's stupid, isn't it? Because we've been here, 5 days with you now. And it's like, we could have had all these... Why is it as soon as the camera's on you, you're like, oh, I can talk to you and ask you these questions? But if you could say one thing that no one prepared you for, like if you know, like we can give you as much help as we can and people can tell you this and that, but if there's one thing that no one prepared you for, what do you think it was?
Honey?
I'm thinking.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's my thinking look.
Yeah.
I'm looking in this part of my brain.
It's a tricky question, isn't it? But
so our good friend Ryan, who you guys recently re-interviewed, right? Yeah. What he told us, which was great, was he said it's the same, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're gonna think, oh, it's the same. It won't really be that hard. He's like, but everything's actually different. And it's not hugely different, but it's different enough where you're not just gonna waltz in as an American and be like, oh yeah, I got this. Like, I know how this works, I know how that works. Every little thing is different.
Yeah.
And you gotta just figure it out, and it takes time.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan tried to prepare us for that, but you can't really prepare somebody for it unless you go through it. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the other things is you're English speaking, but a completely different culture.
Yeah.
And people don't think that because you English speak, you think, you're the same as us.
Yeah,
and it's like, no, you have your ways that you do things, and you know, you go to a restaurant, you take all the food home with you for some unknown reason. Don't eat anything when you're there. Just stuff like that.
Don't use a
Come back with
knife.
big boxes of food.
We were
It's
having
like, it's not a
breakfast this
takeaway,
morning,
you
and I
know.
said, we were having breakfast this morning, and I said to Molly and Brian, "Can you just tell me why Americans don't use a knife?" And they're like, "Well, we don't like the sound of a knife on a plate." It's like, oh, okay, now I know then.
That's not all Americans. That's just me.
Yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it?
Yeah.
They don't take their pizza
They don't take the
as
leftover pizza.
takeaway.
no, listen.
Okay,
no.
who does that when you can have leftover pizza?
Yeah. I mean, I almost wanted to take their pizza and eat it.
No, shall I tell you why we didn't take our pizza home last night? Because you're vegetarians. And I said to Brian, don't take our meat pizza home and put it in their fridge.
We don't care. It's not like the meat's going to crawl
I know,
out
but I
and
don't wanna-
invade our veggies.
I know, but I don't want to be like, we've only just met you and like, here you are, here's that big salami pizza to go in your fridge.
is
We don't care.
When the Kiwis see Americans coming into the pizza place that we went to last night, they send someone down to Domino's to get some boxes.
Yeah.
We played it. Not us. We would know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I just want to just basically say thank you so much for being so transparent and open. And listen, if you didn't see Miley and Brian's first video, it was called Leaving America for Good. And we got so many comments on that video saying, wow, it brought me to tears, because Brian in particular talked a lot about leaving his dad, and you had a moment on the deck there when you're just so honest, and you have been in this chat, and I just really appreciate it, and I want to say thank you, because that's all people want. They just want the real stuff, don't they, you know? And it's all very well to go, oh yeah, we love Dunedin and everything's brilliant, but thank you for just sharing, you know, your moment with your co-worker and crying and saying, you're having that reassurance, and you, Brian, you know, just feeling lonely, and it's just, it's really, I feel honoured that you'd share that with us, and I'm sure the people out there feel like that as well.
I think keeping it real is what helps the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can watch all the shiny videos you want,
I know.
but they don't really tell you what it's like.
No.
Yeah. Because we're all in this together.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see other people going through the same thing you go through, you're like, okay, it's not just me. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just living. I'm just human.
You're a sensitive guy, Brian, aren't you? I can see he is, isn't he? I just want to keep going over and hugging him. I know. Out the way, Brian.
So that is actually one thing that I do miss from the US.
No, he's a big hugger.
Yeah.
Don't they hug here?
It just feels, I don't know, it just seems
I gave you a big hug when we met.
yeah,
There you
that's
go.
Yeah.
You see,
That's why you're
nobody else saw
Well,
that.
who's
did
not
they?
out there hugging Brian when you see him in the street? Do they not hug you?
Yeah.
If anyone watching this sees me in the street,
Please hug him.
please feel free to come up and hug me.
That's so interesting. Is that right? Are they a bit standoffish, the Kiwis, with you?
I don't know. There was
No, Clinton hugs you.
no, I hugged him that one time, but I was like, I don't know if that's.
Oh. Yeah, is that okay? We
I
actually don't know.
So let me just put this right. So you go into a coffee shop, you see someone there at the table on their own, reading their book, or just minding their own business. Do you just go up to them and go, "Hi, can I have a hug?"
That would be weird. But if somebody sees me in a coffee shop reading, feel free to just come up and hug me. No, I think it's just...
Do you know what? Now you say that, when you say, is that not normal? I don't know.
Comment below.
Yeah.
Are hugs in New Zealand
normal?
and we're just talking about, you see your friend and you give them a hug.
Yeah.
And when they leave, you give them a hug.
You do.
Yeah.
And we've always been big kissers to our friends, like not full on the lips, like, just like, but always like, don't know, yeah, but you will.
Brian's got really excited.
We haven't got any friends, so it doesn't matter.
Why don't you have any friends?
We just kiss Maggie, just kiss our dog the whole time.
Kiss the kids.
Yeah. So, that's interesting. Right, okay, I'm going to wrap it up. If there's one thing that you could tell all the people out there who are thinking of moving to New Zealand, I don't want to say especially Americans, but let's face it, they're standing for the Americans here, aren't you? Right. But from the US. But anyone really, one piece of advice, what could you say?
I would say you're going to feel, if you make it over here, even getting ready to leave, before you leave, arriving, the months, years afterwards, it's just going to be a roller coaster. And just embrace it, because it's part of the journey. So it's not just all, unicorns and roses and but God, it's so worth it. Yeah.
That's what we've always loved, the challenge of things. Going to a new state and not having anyone and just picking a place online to live and just going, and I mean that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, you grow in ways that you don't even realize until you look back, and then you think, oh wow, I'm so different. That's cool.
Had we stayed where we were born and just lived there,
it'd be totally different people.
But it's all the struggles we went through and all the amazing things that.
How lucky, Dunedin, you are that you've got these two. How lucky Dunedin is to have you.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just, you're just gorgeous people, you're lovely, and you just, aren't they, Brian?
Yep. And you've got to be brave and adventurous, and that's what New Zealand wants. That's what it was made on.
Yeah.
So, that's why you're here, You chose a good place as well.
Yeah.
And we have you guys as friends.
I know. And and I just want to say, having people like these two around in our group made such a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because we knew we weren't alone. Without them or the group, it would have been so much harder.
Yeah.
So, you guys do good work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I remember when you initially, there was the fee to get the videos that you guys made, and I was like, do we want to spend that money right
worth
now?
it?
There was a moment where we almost didn't, because we weren't sure if we wanted to spend money on it.
I can't imagine.
But holy crap, things would have been so different for us.
Yeah, we wouldn't have Katie and David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But your credit card actually bounced, and we felt sorry for you.
Because my name was Brian. So
well, that's a Brian then.
Free pass for Brian.
You can just pay in hugs.
Okay. How much is each hug worth?
Yeah.
A cent.
Come on, Brian.
That's a lot of hugs.
Is that pence?
A cent. I would say cents, not pence.
Is it not a pence? Is a pence and a cent the same?
It's the same thing, yeah. It's one. Yeah, it's 100 makes a pound or a dollar. Yeah, same thing.
There's a private conversation going on here. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
Anyways, this is what it's been like for the past 4 days. I kid you not.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this up now. We really hope you've enjoyed chatting with Miley and Brian as much as we have. Go over and check out their channel, Zoomies Abroad. You're going to be doing loads of cool stuff about Dunedin and
got some fun restaurant updates.
Want to do some Dunedin spotlight. Really focus on Dunedin because it's such a great city.
Horrible city.
Don't move here.
There's only one restaurant, and it's only open from 9 to 10.
Yes, that's it.
Like I say, if you haven't seen it already, go and watch their first video that we did. They're sitting on a bed in MIQ in Auckland. Were you in Auckland, weren't you?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because you'll see the transition they've made from those two newbies that were sitting on that bed in MIQ to how they are now. So if you haven't watched that video or you haven't listened to that podcast, go back and listen to it. It was called Leaving America for Good. And you'll just see how they've blossomed.
Yes.
Yeah. So
maybe not Brian, but Miley has.
I'm wearing the same hat that I was wearing.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Kia kaha. Stay strong. I've got to say it properly. Kia kaha.
Yeah. Well. Oh, well done.
Kia
kaha.
Kia kaha.
Oh, well done, darling. Yeah.
Someone keeps saying that. I love the way it makes me laugh every time I say kia kaha.
Yeah.
It's kia kaha.
Oh, well done. Yeah. Kia kaha.
Yeah, kia u. So stay strong. Stay true.
Stay
true. I think that's true. Stru's like true, isn't it? It's true. Same thing.
No, kia kaha. Yeah.
We can all say goodbye on that one over there, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Did you love it as much as I thought you would? I know you're sitting there thinking, oh, I wish we could have stayed longer. They're just gorgeous. Please make sure to go and check out Miley and Brian's channel, Zoomies Abroad. But also, I promised to tell you about the community membership group that Miley and Brian talk about just then. That's called NZ Ahead Community, and you get to it by taking our free 5-day video guide that we've talked about quite a lot. If you're new to the channel, then you might not know what we're talking about. It's 5 days of free videos showing you some aspect of what life is like in New Zealand. It's absolutely lovely and it's free. And when you get to the end of those 5 days, you'll be given a link to go to a page, and then you can choose whether or not to opt into the private community. So in case you're listening on the podcast and you haven't got the video with the link, it's
www.nzahead.com/free. That's www.nzahead.com/free.
So press that, get the free 5-day videos, and then you can decide if you want to join us in the membership. We really, really would love to see you on the other side. It's a great community, full of support, full of making connections. It's just gorgeous. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to watch the other video, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this week. We have loved having you here with us.
If you love this week's show, please share this with your friends. Send it to anybody you know that wants to think about moving to New Zealand, and get on over here yourself.
And tell them how brilliant it is as well. And also, if you haven't signed up for our free 5-day video guide showing you what life is like, really like, in New Zealand, then go over to the website and sign up. You are missing out. This is brilliant. Go over to www.nzahead.com/free, and we will send you 5 days worth of videos about what life is like in New Zealand. You are going to love it. So one more time, that website that you need to sign up for the free 5-day guide is www.nzahead.com/free. So we're going to see you next week. Until then, have a great week, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Say bye again. Bye.
Bye.